Hi, hello and welcome again. In this video what I want to do is I want to show you an example of a really low quality microscope. We bought this microscope several years ago for educational purposes, and it was actually pretty bad, okay? And so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you some of the problems that this microscope had, and I hope that this way we can learn a little bit on what to look out for when you buy microscopes. Okay, so first of all, I want to give you some background information. In the school where I work, we've been using Olympus CHA quality microscopes for around 30 years. So they've been in operation for a very long time and they worked very reliably. However, in recent years, the gearing of the microscope started to become difficult to turn, and the reason is because the lubrication oil started to become solid. This is a normal thing that happens. You refer to this as gumming up of the oil, and when that happens, you simply send in your microscope to the microscope company, to a service company, and they will then take the microscope apart. They will remove the old oil and they will re-lubricate everything, and then you're fine again, and the microscope works. Now, of course, this costs money, and because the microscopes have been in operation for 30 years, we decided, okay, it's time to completely replace the microscopes. And what we did is we bought no-name microscopes, which externally looked very similar to the quality Olympus microscopes that we had. That's basically we bought a whole series of around 20 no-name microscopes. And those microscopes, even though they looked so similar, like clones actually, from the outside, the quality was, I have to say, a disaster. Okay, and so this basically means that there was mainly mechanical problems, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of these problems that we encountered. These problems were not all on the same microscope, but on different microscopes. So I kind of collected all of the problems to put together this video. That's basically what I'm going to do now, and we're going to get started. So, number one, I tried to move the mechanical stage of one microscope and I heard a scratching sound. So there was a problem here, and I found it very quickly because on the left side you could see two wires coming out because the ball bearing of the mechanical stage broke. And you can also see there's problem here on the right side, on the other side of the stage. So the mechanical problem concerning the mechanical problem concerning the ball bearing. Apparently some screws got loose and we were not able to retain the guiding wires that retained the steel balls that made the slide operate smoothly. So, second problem, a stage. Look at this. This was actually pretty fun. Yeah, the stage kind of fell. You pulled a little bit on the fine focus knob and some gears became disattached and this whole stage fell. So this means I have to take apart the coarse and fine focus knob to get that fixed. And another mechanical problem is that this is the focus lock lever, and this one is supposed to remember the place of the highest focus, and this was completely loose. So this was again another microscope. So it was actually completely moving freely, and it was absolutely not possible to lock the focus. Stage drift is, strictly speaking, not something unusual, and stage drift happens when the stage of the microscope drops down either on its own or if you apply a light pressure. And this is something that can be easily adjusted by turning a tightening screw, which can be found at the place of where the coarse focus is. And some other microscopes allow you to do this by turning the two coarse focus knobs counterclockwise, or not counterclockwise, against each other in opposing direction, and this also tightens it. So it's not really a problem, or should not be a problem, but I tried to do this on the microscope, and then actually what happened is something snapped and it broke. It physically broke. So there was something, I think some kind of gears were a little bit underdimensioned in the microscope. Now this is also an example to show that there are some problems with the tolerances, because the clips holding the slide in place were not close enough to the stage, so the slide could actually slip beneath the clip, and so the clip was not able to hold the slide. So that's basically defeats the whole purpose of the mechanical stage here. We're now looking at the diopter adjustment. The diopter adjustment allows you to rotate one of the eyepieces so that you can adjust for two different eyes, because maybe your eyes are not the same. You have different diopters in your eyes and you can adjust it. But in this case it was like this, that it worked with one side, but with the other one it simply did not raise and lower it. I have to also admit it's actually the first time that I've seen a diopter adjustment on both eyes. Normally you only have it on one eye. I don't know why they actually added it on both eyes, but it was not able to raise and lower it in one case, so apparently there was also a mechanical problem here. And concerning the eyepiece holder, on a different microscope yet, that's a different issue. Apparently the threading broke that holds the eyepiece holder in place. So it was actually loose and wiggly, and I suppose that the person who connected the eyepiece holder into the binocular head apparently used a little bit too much force, and then this came loose. But it is not something that the students did, because actually the students didn't even know that you have to that you can remove the eyepiece holder. So I'm quite certain that this was already at the time of microscope delivery a problem. Now this one is also quite an interesting one. All of the microscopes wobbled when they were on the table. And the reason is, I found the reason by flipping the microscope over. The reason is that the cover on the bottom side of the microscope was too high, and so it was actually not, the microscope was not standing on the four legs alone, but also on the microscope cover. You can see it actually here, where there is this dirt and the dust collected. And I think this is not only a stability problem, but I think also an overheating problem, because beneath the microscope cover there is the transformer, because this is a halogen microscope. So there is not enough air between the microscope and the table, and this is in my view a design problem. Okay, this is shouldn't be. So the legs are simply not tall enough. Yeah, also yet another microscope had an issue where there's a fine focus knob on the left and the right side, and they should actually turn together, but in this case they became detached from each other, and you could spin them separately. So this is again an example that there is a mechanical quality problem inside the focus. This is something where it's not the microscope manufacturer's fault really, but here the plastic broke, and this is probably because a student bumped the microscope against another hard object. But I simply also want to mention this is to show you that actually plastic parts on a microscope of course are prone to damage, and therefore I think it is better if for educational use or for very rough use to use microscopes that do not have plastic on very critical places. One of the microscopes that we had there had a trinocular head for photography, and it was practically very rarely used, but there is a little lever that you can push in and out, and this lever is there to flip to redirect the light to the phototube, and it was scratching. So it was actually not moving smoothly, but it was actually, yeah, there was some kind of abrasion inside the microscope head. So this means that also this was not manufactured according to proper tolerances. And this is, I think, one of the worst problems of the microscope, and it's a severe, in my view, a severe design problem. And that is that the microscope head, the binocular head, could not be attached properly to the microscope body. And the reason is the following: that the screw that is holding the head in place actually was located on a wrong place. It was mounted too low. and it was therefore not able to retain the microscope head, so it did not go into the so-called dovetail. Here, this is an example. This is the way it should be. The microscope, the screw of them should actually go into the dovetail, but it did not, and it simply touched the dovetail on the edge. And this caused a lot of abrasion, and therefore there are a lot of metal filings inside the microscope because of the aluminum which got rubbed off. And that's not good either, because those metal filings could actually drop into the objective. And this is a second problem is also that there was only this one screw, but in reality there should be 2 more places that hold the dovetail in place. And this is now the example of the quality microscope, where you can actually see that there are 2 more retainers that hold it in place, but this one is they're missing in the low quality microscope. So the company who made this microscope actually did some shortcuts, but this completely defeated the purpose. I think this is even a safety issue, because the head actually drops off very easily. So normally you loosen the screw a little bit, and then you can rotate the whole head for the second person to observe the specimen. But if you only loosen it a little bit, the whole head already comes off. Right? So this is actually a design mistake, and this should not be. This kind of also shows to me that the company that manufactured the microscope actually really did not know very much about microscopes. And the last example is is actually a little bit on the fun side. Is if you look carefully, you're going to discover that the objectives were mounted the wrong way. There is a convention in microscopy. What you have to do is you have to rotate the turret or the revolving nosepiece clockwise to get the next higher magnification. But in this case, if you rotate the turret clockwise, you get to the next lower magnification. It's not a serious thing, and you can simply fix this by simply exchanging the objectives around. But it simply shows that the company who put together the microscope really did not know what the conventions are on how to put together a microscope. So the question is now, of course, how can this be? Okay, how is it possible to make a microscope that has so many problems? Don't forget, the optics are fine. Okay, the optics are fine. The picture quality is fine. And I have a scenario. Now, I don't know if it happened like this, but I've been thinking a lot. How can this be? How can a company make microscopes like this? And I don't know the company because there is no name printed on it. There's absolutely no sticker, not even a sticker where it's made, nothing. It's completely bare, okay? And I've been thinking a little bit, so I've been speculating. What I think is to happen is the following. There is an engineering company, and they basically were thinking, okay, what can we make to use our machines? Let's start to make microscopes, okay? Not car parts or whatever parts for elevators or I don't know, or door handles. Let's make microscopes, they said. And what they did is the following. Maybe they bought a microscope and then they tried to copy it, okay, because they didn't have any idea on how to make microscopes. What you do is you copy the microscopes. So they made cast aluminum and then they basically made the microscope body, which is fine. The microscope body is casted aluminum, which is very solid. They took apart the original microscope. They looked at the mechanics of it. They copied the mechanics. They made some shortcuts maybe where you can save some money. Like, for example, the place where the microscope head is held in place, the 2 extensions. They simply used the CNC machine to cut it out round, but they didn't spend the time or the effort to make a complex shape. So they made some shortcuts here. They put the microscope together. They bought the optics ready-made from a different company because they cannot be made individually. You have to buy ready-made optics. So they bought standard optics, attached it to the microscope, and then they tried to sell it. Right? They didn't do any quality checks. And then because they could not find a reseller of microscopes who was willing to put their brand name on it, so they simply sold it no name. That is kind of my guess on the whole situation, right? And that's kind of how it ended up. The mistake that we did is the following. Instead of simply buying 20 microscopes right away, we should have ordered one of them. We should have actually looked at it in more detail, whether it's actually of reasonable quality. But what we thought is what can go wrong, right? I mean, it's the microscope looks the same. Everything seems to be fine. The price was okay, so we just ordered them, not anticipating that after a few years already of operation, the microscope is giving us mechanical problems. So So that is one of the things you don't always see. You don't always see the problems right from the beginning, but at least we could have looked at it in more detail, and some of the issues we could actually have discovered, like the design mistakes in concerning the wobbly part of the microscope and also the attachment of the microscope head. That's something that we could have actually seen. So that's maybe the mistake that we made. So that is kind of, yeah, that's kind of it. If you have now a really low quality microscope, or if I had one like this, I would say it's not a big problem. You know why? Because I'll make it work. I'll fix it, right? It's not a big deal, and the microscope, the image quality of the microscope was not a problem anyway, right? But it's if you actually need reliability, and if it's for critical use, for example, like in a school environment where you need reliability, then it's of course a problem, right? So yeah, so that is, yeah, the last point I wanted to say. It's a little bit, that's actually maybe a really important point, is the following. I often receive in the forum or over email or so, there are often questions posed where people who want to buy a microscope, they send a link to the microscope and then they ask, is this a good microscope? Okay. And I gotta be very honest with you, I don't know, okay? Unless it is really a brand name microscope, like from the big 4 microscope manufacturers or maybe some other well-known microscope company, I don't know whether it's a good microscope or not, okay? Because you don't see it from the outside. So the only thing I can do is I can evaluate it based on the features it has, but I cannot say anything about the mechanical build quality. Because you don't see that right away, and sometimes the problems only appear after a certain time of use, right? So I'm just saying it's very difficult, but on the other hand, I'm just also saying you probably sometimes do get that what you pay for, but at least if there is some kind of a name on the microscope, then at least there is some kind of a company behind it who has a reputation to lose, right? And therefore you have also a company behind the microscope who is able to do some basic servicing, okay? But if it's absolutely no name, like there's not even a sticker on there, there's nothing on it, well then of course the risk is, I guess, maybe a little bit higher, okay? So this is basically the thing that I wanted to make clear to you. Is yeah, and I just thought it was kind of interesting maybe to see what some of the things are that can go wrong with low quality microscopes. Okay, in any case, yeah, that was it again. As always, all the best. I wish you a nice day, and as always, happy microbe hunting. Bye bye.